And then Big, when did you decide? Because we already know about the big bet with Will Smith when you decided to lose the weight. What sparked that on? How'd you lose the weight? What'd you do?
You know what, man?
Because you used to be big boy. How big did you get?
I was over 511 pounds when I had my surgery, right? But I had Will Smith on one day, and Will was like, you know, when we got off air, he was like, Big, you know, he said, you know, how old are you? And I think at the time I was, I don't know, 30, 31, I don't know.
Right.
And he said, man, he said, are you worried about your health? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm passive and shit. And he said, well, what about your heart? You know, and so we went in where he said, you know, well, let's do this weight loss challenge. I'll give you $1,000 for every pound you lose, and we'll donate it to charity. We give you 6 months, and we'll see how much weight you can lose in 6 months.
Right.
I'm not thinking about health at this time, fellas. I'm thinking about I got Will Smith for 6 months.
Wow.
That's the radio naivete. I got Will Smith. He's going to check in every week. This is a ratings bonanza. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So every week, wherever the Will was at, doing a movie, so on and so forth, we get the weight in, you know, pop in every month or something as far as like coming in. And, you know, it's Will, you know, laughing and we're having fun. And I'm losing the weight. By the time it comes to 6 months, I lost like 111 pounds. So I had $111,000 for charity. Literally. And you know, off of 500 something pounds, you could lose more than 111 pounds.
In 6 months. Yeah.
In 6 months.
Yeah,
you know, I lost 26 pounds my first week.
Right.
And so while I'm on the scale, we got the news there. I'm doing the final weigh-in. We got the big check for, you know, Ida Son Foundation to donate this money to these various charities that Will and I have. And I'm literally on the scale. And while I'm on the news, in my boxers and a T-shirt, I'm looking at the number, and I'm thinking, soon as I finish this, I'm going to La Fogatas and get me some nachos. That's where my head is at. I got the Will Smith hit. And so I started to put that weight back on. You know, if you don't pay attention to it. Yeah. And I never had like back pain, and I didn't have high blood pressure. Everything was going to come. Right. I remember walking through the Burbank airport one day, and I had to stop. I never had to do that before, but I had put the weight back on where I could feel it now. You know, because I had been big since I was 5. It was just, you know, progressively you'll gain weight. But then when I lost over 100 pounds and put it back on, that's when I started to feel certain things, right? And so I remember I was at a movie premiere one night, and this dude came up to me. He was like, "Big boy," and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And he was like, I'm like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "It's Ron." And I'm like, "Ron who?" He said, Ron Lester. Remember Varsity Blues? And I'm like, oh shit, he was the real big dude. Yeah. I'm like, "Man, what the fuck did you do?" And he was like, "Man, you know, I met this doctor and I did this gastric bypass, so on and so forth." I'm not thinking gastric bypass, but I'm literally sitting and I'm watching this dude when he go to take his seats now that we're in the theater. And I'm like, damn, that dude lost a lot of weight. So I started researching it. He put me with his doctor. And I thought about everything. I thought about how safe it is. Okay. My main thing was, will I still be big boy? Right. Could I still be big boy? Are the people going to trip off if I lose weight? Because I had developed this character, big boy, you know, which is me, but shit, that's big boy. Right. And so I thought about it, man, and I said, you know what, dude, it's not going to matter because you're going to be dead in a year. And I felt that I would have been dead, you know. So literally when I went to go get the surgery, when I got on the scale, I was 511 pounds. I put all the weight back on, probably to the ounce. I was right back to where I was. And when I knew that I was going to get the surgery, I flew out to Marietta, Georgia. That's where the surgeon was at. And he said, well, we can get you a date. He said, lose as much weight as you can. And I got a date November 28th. So once again, I lose weight when I get on the scale, I'm 511 pounds. But I had cut down so much, man. I was probably 540, 550 pounds. Wow. Before, when I went to him.
Okay.
That weigh-in, I was 511 pounds on my surgery date. And you know, AD, you know, after that, you know, you got to learn nutrition. It took me like 10 years to just learn nutrition.
But you
and
know
learn
it now.
My body. Yeah. And I'm still learning. You know, shit, I'm on the phone with you.
Right.
Like, man, I need a kidney flush. I need to cleanse. I need, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it took 10 years to just learn some sort of discipline. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, now I just live a different lifestyle, you know.
It's crazy because some people have the surgery and they put back on the weight.
Right.
You didn't.
And the reason with me, too, is I had a procedure called the duodenal switch. And with the duodenal switch, that's the most aggressive gastric bypass you can have. It would actually be harder for me to put the weight back on. Okay. And then when I put weight on, it's like in my legs, I'm bloated, and I just don't like the feeling of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as we sit here today, we're shy of Thanksgiving, and I'm cooking everything, but I'm not eating nothing.
Right.
And I don't deprive. I'm gonna have some turkey, but I'm gonna have vegetables, and you know what I'm saying. I don't do stuffing and dressings and macaroni and cheeses and all that kind of shit anymore.
So you got the name Big Boy because you was a big boy.
Yep.
So when did they start calling you Big Boy? As a young age?
Yeah, when I was from MC Scratch. When I was MC Scratch, it was a brother by the name of Augie Johnson, and Augie Johnson was the lead singer and the creator of a group called Side Effect.
Okay.
And Dog was one of those people where he used to tell me, he said, man, Big, man. You know, he used to tell me, you're going to be a star, man. You're going to be a star. You're going to be a star. And so he was the first one that put me in a limousine. Mm-hmm. He's the first person that took me to get promo shots. You know, he believed in this kid, Kurt Alexander, MC Scratch. And he was like, man, you know, I want to change your name. I'm just going to start calling you Big Boy. And I was like, Big Boy. And it just stuck. He would call me Big Boy. He said, you need a name that when people walk into a room, they know exactly who you are.
So and many valuable lessons.
Yeah, and that stuck with me, you know, because even now, if I'm in a room, right, and it's us sitting in here, and I walk out and I say, hey, man, I say, oh, run this back into AD. And then they'll say, AD. I say, oh, you know, he's a tall, fucking healthy brother.
Right.
You know, the tall, healthy dude, like you'll know him.
Right.
Like we were just talking about driving up here. We was like, look how healthy this motherfucker is. Like, remember Jose? Jose was like, man, he just look healthy. And so that's how I would describe you, you know? And that's what Big Boy was. You know, the biggest dude in the room. Oh, get this to go. Oh, you gotta be Big Boy. You know what I'm saying? So
what thoughts come to mind when you see like old pictures of yourself and then like you look at yourself now?
It gets crazy because I'll look at old pics and I'll say, damn, that's crazy. But what's even crazier is most times I still see myself like that. I would literally, like even today, I was walking to the restroom today, and I'm always looking at my reflection. And it took me a while too. And even now, where I don't even know the size of my clothes. Like I'll get something, I'm like, oh man. And then I put it on and the shit'll drape me. You know what I'm saying? Because in my head, I'm still, you know, like my shirt size was an extra, 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 extra large. Wow. I was an 8X shirt and a size 66 pants.
It must have been hard as hell to find clothes.
They're easier now because all of America's obese. No, but yeah, it was hard to find. Like, remember when everybody was going through them jerseys and all that shit?
Right.
I couldn't find jerseys. You know what I'm saying? They made me one of one. You know, and then you would go, and it was like all the pants were elastic, and the fucking shirts was floral print shirts. You know what I'm saying? You had like elastic bottom. Yeah, they didn't know how to dress the big man until you start coming with like bigger Pele, and you know, then you know once urban wear got into it, or it was a spot in L.A. on Vermont and King called Bell Sales, and they went up. You know. They helped me gain weight because I was at a 6, and I was like, oh, they got 7X.